Hello, beautiful folks. This is Freedom Fighter. Today is July 17th, 2024, Wednesday, July 17th, 2024. And Goldilocks has shared two very powerful articles that we're going to get into. One, in particular, is regarding Vietnam and a law that Vietnam has passed, and it's called a Vietnam Decree 52, where it's an actual ruling, regulation, law inked in stone, a law that declares the dong e-money or an electronic currency within Vietnam. About a month or so ago, Goldilocks shared an article by Vietnam from the Vietnamese news showing that Vietnam at that time, 80% of Vietnam's economy is digital and cashless. So now we have Goldilocks shared an article today showing that there's a decree passed down by the ruler of Vietnam to declare the Vietnamese dong digital and electronic stored of payment, and it's called a Decree 52. Before that, we're going to briefly discuss price discovery as an article that Goldilocks shared. Then we're going to go into Vietnam and give you that amazing news. But they both articles tie into each other. First one on price discovery, let's jump right into it. In economics and finance, the price discovery process, also called price discovery mechanism, is the process of determining the price of an asset in the marketplace through interactions of buyers and sellers. So think of the price of an asset. Our digital currencies are assets, XRP, XLM, our paper currencies, the dong, the dinar, so forth and so on, the US dollar. Those are all assets. Now, buyers and sellers will determine the price action and the price on these assets through supply and demand. This is what Goldilocks is sharing with us. Let's continue. We are about to embark upon an incredible journey together. It is about to be scary at times and exhilarating at other times, depending on where your assets have been accumulated and held within your portfolio. I'm going to pause there for a moment. What Goldilocks is referring to is this depends on when you bought your assets, whether it's paper currency, digital, precious metals, and when. So when Goldilocks says we are about to embark upon an incredible journey together, it is about to be scary at times and exhilarating at other times, depending on where your assets have been accumulated and held within your portfolio. Each day we are pushing out old traditional assets and replacing them with new digital tokenized assets. Think of what we're going to talk about next with Vietnam. Each day we are pushing out an old traditional assets and replacing them with new digital tokenized assets. This month, we will be adding spot Ethereum ETF to the markets. That's exchange traded funds. We have been witnessing two new indexes beginning to list their products on the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. That's the CME. And they will be activated by the end of this month. Ripple is one of them that will be traded against other currencies and other assets that are about to be digitized. Ripple will stand as a beacon to shine the light on other tokenized assets to move their standards inside their networks to the bar that has been set with XRP. Ladies and gentlemen, that bar has been set high by Ripple via XRP. As the movement of money is determined by preferences of buyers and sellers, think of supply and demand on assets of their choice. New prices will be revealed as investors seek to replace their money inside opportunities never seen before in history. Are you ready? Goldilocks is discussing and explaining price discovery, which is the new price that will be set upon an asset, the new value, the new price, the new value set on an asset determined by buyers and sellers. This is where supply and demand comes from. So as a result of supply and demand, as a result of the buyers and the sellers in the market for goods and services and assets, the currencies and the assets that are utilized within these means of exchanges will determine the price discovery or the price value on some of these assets that you may hold. Now, think of the dong, the dinar, think of the cryptocurrencies you may hold, whatever it may be as an asset. Price discovery is determined by the buyers and the sellers in the market for those assets that we hold. Now let's get into Vietnam. And as Goldilocks mentions, as far as price discovery, we are transitioning from old traditional assets and replacing them with new digital tokenized assets. Let's jump on into Vietnam. Goldilocks says, what is a decree? A decree is an official order made by the ruler of a country. And this is what was done with Vietnam. What is meant by Vietnam Decree 52? Under Decree 52, electronic money, remember Goldilocks just mentioned previously about price discovery, moving from an old traditional assets to new digital assets. Under Decree 52, electronic money or digital money is the value of Vietnamese currency co-stored on electronic means provided on a reciprocal basis, meaning back and forth. On a reciprocal basis, with the amount prepaid by customers to banks, foreign bank branches, and intermediary payment service providers providing e-wallet services. What this means, folks, is that for people in Vietnam now, in order to have a debit card, credit card, any form of digital payment, it must be connected to a bank, and there is strict guidelines they must meet in order to verify themselves. Why does this sound familiar? Isn't that what we do here in the States? You set up you get a debit card associated with your bank account, and it has to be verified that it's you. That's digital, right? This is where Vietnam is now, and it's become law. Goldilocks continues. Yes, Vietnam is the first country out of the gate to begin officially utilizing electronic money as payment for their goods and services. They started on July the 1st, 2024, moving into electronic payment services. Back in May, ladies and gentlemen, it was passed by the Vietnamese government to do this, and it went live, effective as law on July the 1st. They are expected to complete this process within 2 years. Vietnam's move to a market economy puts them in place whereby their money is now determined by supply and demand, not by manipulation, not by corruption. Decree 52, 2024 introduces a new definition of e-money, which is the value of the Vietnamese dong, is stored on electronic instruments such as e-wallets and prepaid cards, is equal to the money amounts prepaid by customers to banks, foreign bank branches, or intermediary payment services providers offering electronic wallet services. This currency is expected, meaning the dong is expected to begin rising in value going forward based upon buyers and sellers of the marketable assets they provide in the country. Everything is going digital, including the assets and services provided around the world. It is backed by tangible gold and known as tokenized assets. This is where we're going, folks, to a gold-backed system. In looking at trading screens, this is Goldilocks speaking. In looking at trading screens, I've never seen so much sentiment for the Vietnamese dong by traders. The sentiment is at 100% with green buy signals across the board. What Goldilocks is referring to is with traders, for example, even on Forex, the Forex market, they can sort of gauge an idea, to have an idea of what's going to happen with any currency. The sentiment is 100% with green buying signals, meaning 100% of the traders are indicating that they should buy Vietnamese dong. Why? There is an expectation for the price discovery, the value to increase. The flip side of that is if they were under the impression, these traders who this is what they do every day, if they thought that the dong was going down or lose value, the sentiment would be to sell, get out. No, the sentiment is to buy, get in, 100%. This is traders who literally evaluate and trade foreign currencies for a living every day. This is history where 100% sentiment. Goldilocks shared with me they've never seen 100% before. As a trader, I've seen sentiment be 50%, 40%, never at 100%. We wait and see. Goldilocks continues. It's time to start watching this particular investment much closer than before. Vietnam has comprehensive trading agreements with Europe, Russia, China, and the U.S. Folks, what are comprehensive trading agreements? These are contracts where these countries have agreed to buy and sell goods and services amongst each other at specific volumes of trade. These are contracts that can go years out, 10, 20 plus years of contracts, contract terms. Therefore, there's a certain determination on the value of their currency and assets, goods and services moving forward. Goldilocks says there may be more, but these are the more prominent ones, meaning the more prominent countries that I'm currently aware of by memory. So the U.S., China, Russia, Europe, major comprehensive trade agreements with Vietnam. Goldilocks continues. Vietnam appears to be going into a floating regime, meaning Vietnam appears to eventually begin to float. And there are many factors to influence supply and demand exchange rate changes in the future. We are going to have to continue watching these changes develop, especially when the Basel III compliance is fully activated on a global scale. We could see a rate change at that time as well. Each of these factors will influence price points for our currencies. So Goldilocks is saying each of these factors, Basel III being activated on a global scale, supply and demand or buy and sell, large in part plays a huge role in the price points on the dong and other currencies as well. We will have to watch and see how the dong reacts to the markets, how it reacts to supply and demand, how it reacts to Ripple, XRP as it begins to move, so forth and so on. There are several factors that will determine the floating rates, and as the rates continue to move, we just have to watch and pay attention. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it for today. It's very profound, very impactful, very powerful, very telling. Now that Vietnam officially has become law, a decree 52, went into force July the 1st, 2024, for e-money or e-dong, the digitization, electronic dong in the country. What a time to be alive. and be a part of such a momentous global event. It's not only about Vietnam, there are other factors, but we see the wheels are turning in the right direction. We love you. We appreciate you. Keep the faith. Stay strong. Just imagine what it feels like for someone to love you unconditionally.